the time bender. What is up, Alien Army? I am Oculus, the alien next door, purveyor of esoteric lore. Thank you, Saturn. And on this channel, we discuss everything out of this world. So today's topic, there is going to be a lot of ground to cover because I was channeling Jesus Christ and Lord Saturn. So two powerful energies, but they are going to be connected away in this video. So any videos that I mention here or put as a pop-up, they are going to be linked below in the comment section if you want more in depth, because I am going to be providing little snippets of other topics I covered, but I'm not going to get into the whole thing because this video is going to be way too long if I do. So if you're interested, check those out. Moving along, I am going to start off with a quote that Jesus provided for me, and this is directly from the horse's mouth. For my father is Saturn, my father is time itself. All right. Woo! What does that mean? So before we get into the topics here, because we are going to be talking about bending time and about Saturn, and these messages were given to me by Jesus and Saturn, so I am going to be referring to both of them just directly from the horse's mouth, what I channeled from my voice notes.
Anyway,
to sum it up, we have the ancient Roman festival, which was called Saturnalia, that was going on for many, many, many years before the time of Christ. And we also have the cult of Saturn, which was purported to be formed somewhere around 497 BC, which is still before the time of Jesus Christ.
BC, before Christ.
So when Jesus conveyed that message to me, when he said, for my father is Saturn, my father is time itself, that opened up a whole Pandora's box of now Saturn came through and he was like schooling me too with all of this stuff. So what Jesus meant was he was talking about his father was Saturn, the same Saturn that was being revered by the ancient Romans. That's who he was talking about. He wasn't talking about an old man in the sky with a fucking beard and things like that. No, he was talking about Saturn, because
Saturn, he's a popular guy. He still fucking is, you know?
Especially nowadays. But basically, Jesus was referring to that Saturn. So whenever you hear Jesus saying, my father, my father, my father, whatever he decided to call ethereal energy, he was referring to that as Saturn, because Saturn, as conveyed to me, which we're going to move along into a little bit, is time itself on the 3D plane. And once one becomes a time bender and they can successfully manipulate time, now they have activated and achieved Christ consciousness. So let's start off a little bit with Saturn. Now, Saturn is associated with time. He's aka Father Time, especially concerned astrologically. He is considered to be the planet of karma, which is not really karma the way you're fucking thinking about. It's more like karma, what you decided, what lesson your soul chose to learn whilst in the physical vehicle that you occupy now. And Saturn is also known as an agricultural god and the harvest. That's why he's pictured with the scythe.
I don't fucking know, okay? Whatever, I pronounce shit my own way.
And he is associated with reaping what you sow. Why is this? So if we want to just look at the energy of Saturn, first we're going to see that everything that he is associated with, what I just mentioned, are all examples of how one can manipulate their experience on the third dimensional plane to activate Christ consciousness. I have a lot of other videos about the different dimensions, but roughly, just so we're on the same page for this, I am talking about 3D, third dimensional, as an energetic standpoint. This is the physical reality. 4D from an energetic standpoint is the super highway, also known as like the realm of Saturn. And the fifth dimensional energy is known as Christ consciousness and higher ethereal realm, where things are not physically tangible, but they do yet exist. So the fourth dimension is also known scientifically as the spatial dimension of time. Why is this? Now, from an energetic standpoint, as conveyed to me, the fourth dimension is essentially a superhighway. It connects the tangible with the intangible, but in science, it is known as the fourth spatial dimension, the dimension of time, in a more scientific type of term, but it still equates to the same thing. So energetically, metaphorically, if you want to look at the fourth dimension as, Satan's domain,
Saturn, Satan,
and we want to look at it as a superhighway connecting the 3D, which is really just past ethereal energy that has condensed, that has slowed down into physical form, connects the 3D to the 5D, which is higher vibrating energy, and it's the oscillation of it's like instantaneous type of shit going on. So the time from something to slow down from the ethers, it gotta go through 4D. The time from something to elevate to the ethers from the 3D plane, it gotta go through the 4D, right? So it's still time in an energetic sense. It's also time in a scientific sense. Saturn, father time. When you are a time bender, you realize that time does not motherfucking exist, and that is how you maneuver throughout your 3D video game with purpose. And you know that time is something for you to play with, and that is access of God consciousness. So now we are going to discuss maneuvering through the lessons of time which Saturn is associated with. One can maneuver through time by seeing the lessons right away so as not to repeat them, and simply moving on from moment to moment. For in every moment there is a lesson. When one is conscious of this, they can mold and bend and shape their reality because they are essentially controlling the fourth dimension, which is time itself. It's all connected. We look for the fourth dimension as time in terms of energetically and also in terms of actual science. So when someone is occupying a third dimensional vessel and they have elevated to 5D Christ consciousness, they have successfully maneuvered in betwixt the superhighway or the spatial dimension of time, whether it's metaphorically, energetically, or actually scientifically. That's what they have done, and this is the key. This is why Jesus told me,
straight from the horse's mouth, y'all.
He told me, for my father is Saturn, my father is time itself. And he understood the concept of time, which is one of the ways that he was able to achieve his ascended master status. Because when one is operating from moment to moment and accepting every now moment, as well as learning the lessons from every now moment, guess what? Time ceases to motherfucking exist. I'm going to give you an example of this, because the lesson of Saturn as time, you can do whatever you want with time. You can do something detrimental, you can do something beneficial. It's all how you spend your time. That's why there's a lot of sayings about time seemed to stand still, or oh, that was like watching the pot boil or some shit, or watching paint dry. It depends on how you are occupying the now moment as the time is passing, because you can be in the zone doing something that you love and 6 hours will go by and it seems like 6 seconds, or you could be doing something you loathe and 6 seconds can seem like a motherfucking eternity. And this is Saturn. He is the governance. That is why he is associated with being the god of agriculture, like you reap what you sow, because the day that you plant the seed is not the day that you yield the results of the fruit that you eat on your fucking plate. Saturn understands this. To successfully maneuver throughout the 3D plane, one must understand the lesson in every now moment. There is a lesson for everyone, everywhere, if they so choose to see it. There can be a lesson in simply the way that you order your fucking fries at the drive-thru. There's a lesson in obviously careers and relationships and dealing with other people. Those are kind of like the big ones that motherfuckers focus on. We're not going to get into that here. But there are little lessons every day that if one does not not learn immediately, guess what? They're going to repeat them again, because it needs to be completely neutralized out of the aura, out of the psyche, or it's going to be repetitive. So if you ordered your fries and you forgot to say please, and then you're like, oh, what? I'm just using a light example, but it's something in that context, right? You didn't say please, and then you're like, oh, well, you know, maybe this person thinks I'm an asshole or whatever the fuck, right? Then if you learn immediately and you want to modify it, you're like, oh wow, okay, I didn't say please when I ordered through the drive-thru, so you know what? And
you don't have to say please. It's what came into my mind. Maybe it pertains to someone, I don't know.
So like, oh, maybe I came off as an asshole when I was ordering at the drive-thru, and I am mindful of that now. Okay, that moment is done, it's gone. Move on to the next now moment in time. And the next time I go through the drive-thru, I already know that I'm gonna say please, I'm gonna say thank you, whatever the fuck you do. And it's things like that that also show a lesson of Saturn, because if there's something that occurs and it's not flushed immediately from your psyche, whether it was something you liked or something you didn't like, guess what? That shit is gonna repeat itself. And if it's something that you like, sure, you might want to repeat itself, but if you keep thinking, if you wear your lucky fucking pair of shoes, this is gonna happen. Now what you're essentially doing, you're taking away from the now moment. You're more fixated on a memory of wearing your lucky shoes and something beneficial happened to you. And then you're taking the magic of the now away. And if you hold too much regard to the past, then a balancing force is going to want to come in, that pendulum swing, and kind of pull you away from it. So even though you had some fantastic moments with those lucky shoes, you understand that time is existing and not existing simultaneously. You realize that was only a moment in time, and there's nothing wrong with this moment. There's nothing wrong with you wearing a different pair of shoes. Maybe something even luckier will happen if you wear a different pair of shoes. Like, do you get what I'm saying? That those are sort of the examples that I want to give here. And another one is, what are you doing with your time? So that was in regards to the lessons of every moment, right? So that you're concentrated in the now, that's your focal point. But what also happens when you maneuver time as a god, when you understand the lessons of Saturn? When Saturn says, this is the day you plant the seed, you will eat the fruit on another day. It depends how you are utilizing that time in betwixt. How you are utilizing time is gonna be how fast that thing arrives to you, or how slow it fucking drags out. Because when you're doing something you love, time fucking flies. So you plant the seed, you're like, okay, it's done. You go about your business. You enjoy all of the now moments from the time the seed is planted to the time you reap the harvest. You enjoy those now moments, and guess what? The harvest, that shit is gonna seem like, whoa, I just planted those seeds yesterday and they're already fucking growing. That is proper utilization of time. But if you plant the seed and you fucking keep digging it up every fucking 5 minutes, and you're like, when's it gonna sprout? When's it gonna sprout? Guess what? That shit might take a long ass motherfucking time to yield some results, right? Because now your time is focused watching the clock. Do you see? So time doesn't exist, clocks exist, but you can speed up or slow down time whensoever you wish, when you understand that time is the bridge between the mundane and the miraculous. And this is how Jesus was able to perform miracles. He completely omitted the time delay because he understood the concept of time. His father Saturn, my father Saturn. That is what it is.
Saturn is my daddy too, okay? Saturn, he's my daddy. Oh yes, yes he fucking is.
Anyway, with that being said, that is how you propel miraculous events into your 3D realm experience. You can perform miracles just as Jesus did. And essentially, if you want to look at Jesus as an ascended master, let's go with that fabled story how he fed what, 5,000 people with 2 fishes and a loaf of bread, whatever, however it goes, right? What he did, he said, you know what, I'm observing right now these motherfucking fishes and these loaves of bread, but I know that more of it already exists because, you know, with the ethers, the quantity is unlimited. And he said right now,
well, I don't know if he fucking said this, but I'm just giving an example.
He basically said, like, yo, I have enough here to feed all of these people. It doesn't matter how many there are. Like, there's an unlimited quantity. And he saw it as being now. Right now, I break a piece of this loaf of bread off. I give it to this one. And then the loaf of bread keeps on going. And it keeps on going. And keeps on giving. And keeps on giving. There's no concept of time. He's saying now this is what it is. That's how Jesus performed those miraculous healings on people. Like, if someone came to him and they had something going on with them, he saw it as now you are healed. He didn't say you will be healed. He didn't say that, you know, whatever he was saying, right? And he also said something to the effect of the faith that the seeker had in their own healing was what allowed Jesus to heal them. So it's like your faith as well. You have to trust in the now moment that it's already done. That is how miracles happen. So that's why it's important in terms of talking about healing. You have to know that it already has happened. This is what it is now. Now,
I am whole and complete, motherfucker.
You know what I mean? It's not like you're looking forward into when you're gonna be healed. It's not like you're looking back in the past as to when the fucking shit went on that required healing. It's right now. I am whole. I am complete. That's what it is, right? That's what holy essentially means. You're whole and complete. You're holy. So the definition of time is actually very interesting. And the one that we're going to be using here is in regards to Saturn, which is a noun. The indefinite continued progress of existence and events in the past, present, and future regarded as a whole. All right, so there we go. Whole, past, present, future. It's whole. It's everything at once. It's right now. That is the energy of Saturn. Everything is now. So from a limited ego perspective, if you're not learning the lesson in the now moment, guess what? You're not utilizing Father Time properly. You're not utilizing the energy of Father Saturn properly. You're fixated. You're like, but that already happened. Now it's going to happen again. And it's like, motherfucker. Or you're like, but that happened before, so it might happen again. And it's like, motherfucker, that shit ain't real. It's what's real right now is pure bliss, motherfucker. So the definition of Saturn can take on so many different contexts, but if we want to use the word time interchangeably with Saturn, we see the energetic output of this charged up name. It's about the harvest. It's about what are you doing while you're waiting for your fruit to grow? What are you doing in the now moment? Are you evaluating every now moment and saying, what did I learn from this now moment to improve yourself, to move on? Are you accepting the now moment in whatever joy is presenting itself to you? Is that what you're doing? Or are you fixated on a point in the future? Or are you fixated on a point in the past? Jesus Christ, as the Ascended Master, he was utilizing time motherfucking wisely. He was calling upon the energy of his father, of Saturn, and he was doing his thing, okay? So when we're looking at another aspect of Saturn, we know that Saturn is also used interchangeably with the word Satan. So the name Satan is also charged up. Why? Why is Satan connotated with the sign of the devil in tarot? Why? Because the devil is what someone perceives as oppressing them. When you conquer the energy of time, when you conquer that Saturnian energy, you break free from those chains and you realize that there was nothing outside of you that was keeping you confined, where you seem to be stuck, where you seem to have delays. Delays do not exist. No, they don't. What exists is your perception of a delay. So if you break free of those chains, of those monkey mind limitations, that is how you utilize the energy of Saturn. And Saturn essentially emancipates you. Saturn, the energy of Saturn is what sets you free because you understand time. You understand that the more you focus on waiting for something, the more you focus on repetitive cycles, the more you focus on what you want to happen in the future, you are essentially abandoning the now moment, and the now moment is where everything motherfucking happens. That's why when people are saying, oh, well, it arrived when I wasn't looking for it. No, it didn't, because you were in the moment, and only in the moment can things motherfucking arrive. The energy of Saturn from a limited scope is indicating simply where you need to break free of the ego bind, because the ego bind is going to keep on trying to talk about time in terms of limits, but really time is essentially malleable, it's moldable, it's interchangeable. You can bring something from the past up again in a repetitive cycle by focusing on it in your now moment. You can project something into the future from your now moment by focusing on it. Time is now. There is no past, there is no future. It's all now.
That's why the present is called the fucking gift.
So the lesson of Saturn, as conveyed to me, as Jesus utilized the energy of time to his advantage, I want to heal someone, boom, they're healed. Now, that's it, motherfucker, no more questions. That is how Jesus did it. The energy of Saturn, if we want to look at it karmically, we want to look at it as an inhibitor, but also an emancipator. We see that Saturn is simply the proper utilization of time in every now moment. Where are you focused? And what linear branch of time are you focused on in the now? If it's not completely here and now, that shit ain't real, homie. It's real as it exists within you from your vantage point, but it might not necessarily be going on at a state where you are not already within you. So when we're utilizing the energy of time properly, when we are traversing just to and fro betwixt the 3D and the 5D, we don't even think about how long is it going to take for that seed to ripen and for us to reap the rewards of our harvest. That's the lesson of Saturn. He's like, yeah, you plant the seed, you don't give a fuck about waiting, because if you don't give a fuck about waiting, then that shit is going to arrive instantaneously like motherfucking lightning. If you plant the seed and you keep trying to dig it up to see if it's growing, guess what? That shit is gonna slow it down. It depends on your focal point. So utilizing the energy of Saturn is really going to break free the restrictions and limitations perceived by the ego, because Saturn is not a restriction. Saturn is not a limitation. Saturn is there to show you the proper utilization of time. Everything about Saturn encompasses time. So a way that Saturn conveyed to me to kind of get the ego to be appeased in the now moment is to simply say to it, ego, right now, in the concept of this now moment, we understand that time is the bridge. Time is the bridge connecting us to the ethers. And the ego understands the concept of time. When you tell the ego, everything is fine. Everything right now is fine. Everything right now is good. We are all neutral in this moment in time. So that is something, or whatever, however you want to tweak the wording for you, that is something that you can tell the ego when the ego is fixated on the concept of time. When is this going to happen?
That happened in the past.
No, you say ego right now, in this moment in time, because the ego is going to understand time from a logical way, not from a metaphorical way. The ego is going to understand logically. You know what? Right now, everything is fine. And then that is how you kind of shut the ego up in the moment if it's trying to drag you into the past or trying to like give you anxiety about the future. That is what you say. You say, ego,
in this moment in time, everything is motherfucking fine.
So that's what I got for you today. I had to talk about it because, you know, Saturn just came through. He's like, you gonna talk about this shit? And I say, yes, daddy, I fucking will. So here I is. I am Oculus, the alien next door. We will chit chat again soon.